Hey everybody, it's Pete Chito, Meadville Tribune Sports Department. You know the deal. It's the Sideline Confidential podcast, number 14. Lucky number 14. It's, what's the date today? Anybody know? Tuesday, December 3rd. That's right. That's my part-time calendar. To my left, Jordan Hansgen. To my right is Matt, who's in a bit of a hurry tonight, right, Matt?
Nah, not really.
What do you got to do? You got to install a router?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Part-time IT manager as well at the Meadville Tribune and assistant sports editor Matt DiGiacomo.
Yeah, our old router decided it didn't want to work anymore, so they had to get a new one set up and send it to me.
Now, those are the tubes, right? Those are the tubes that the internet goes through? That's the router?
Kind of.
Okay.
Kind
of. Let's see. Now, where are we at? I was at December 3rd. We're putting the finishing touches on our winter sports guide, which is going to be out on Friday. I'm in the process of losing my mind over every little cheerleader photo that we don't get. But everything else we kind of got. We got the basketball stuff, the wrestling stuff. We're kind of good to go there. But that means on Friday, gang, that the high school basketball starts. We get in the gyms. We get to see some hoops. Mm-hmm. It's kind of exciting right now. Here, why don't you go over you've been working on that. What's the tournament schedule looking like this weekend?
Right now it's a little crazy. I think that there's still a lot that I haven't got to yet. I'm sure there's most of the time they normally come out with the exact scheduling.
But the local ones, what do we got here?
Yeah, so for the ones we have thus far, Meadville's got a big weekend planned. We can start there. So for the boys, Meadville's hosting Erie First Christian, Iroquois, and Union City. Erie First and Iroquois are the first game of that one. That's at 7, and Meadville will play Union City. So two local schools going toe-to-toe at 8:30 on Friday night.
And then the girls are before that.
The girls are earlier in the afternoon. Northwestern will play Erie at 4, and the Lady Bulldogs will take on Seneca at 5:30. So plenty of basketball at the House of Thrills. Should be a good start to the weekend there. I do know that Cambridge boys and Congleton are in Franklin, and Lakeview's hosting.
Go ahead.
Lakeview's hosting Girard, George Jr., and Greenville for their tournament. That's also Friday night. The boys start off at 7.
Cochrane's weird. They're like at the Franklin tournament, but they're only playing Franklin on Friday night, and they're not playing in the tournament Saturday, I think, is how it's going. I don't know. It's weird. They're only scheduled to play Franklin late Friday night, and then they don't play Saturday. So that's them.
Maplewood is out in Union Reimersburg. Their first game is at 4:30 against Montauk on Friday.
Montauk.
I believe that's how they're pronounced.
I think it's Montauk is how we usually say it around in this part of the state.
I think I did that last year too with I wanted to call Dubois Dubois.
That's how my GPS on my phone says it, Dubois.
Yeah.
Let's see who else is getting. So boys, you said Cambridge Spring is at the Franklin tournament. They're at it proper. They play on at 5:30 against who? I think Oil City maybe they're playing on Friday.
So that's a rematch of a pretty good game last year.
That was a good season opener. Yeah, they came back and won that one. We talked about Cockerton. Cash is at Northwestern. I think that's just a non-region game. That they're playing 7 o'clock on Friday night. Jamestown is at the Sheffield tournament. Lakeview, they're hosting their tip-off tournament. I'm not sure who's all there yet.
It's Girard, George Jr., and Greenville.
Okay, so yeah, that's pretty good teams there. Maplewood, you said, is at Union Reimersburg, right? Meadville's hosting their tip-off. We discussed that. Sagertown's going to be at Northern Cambria. They got a bit of a road trip ahead of them on Friday and Saturday. That's Sagertown boys. Union City boys are going to be at Meadville. You mentioned that. They're playing the late game against the Bulldogs. Girls basketball, Cambridge Springs at West Middlesex tip-off. Cochrane at Grove City. Cash girls are at the Franklin tip-off tournament. Jamestown girls, they don't play until the 9th at Venango Catholic. Lakeview girls are at the Rocky Grove tip-off. Not a bad trip for them. Maplewood at the Warren tip-off tournament. The Maplewood girls. Meadville girls, of course, you mentioned that, are going to be at home this weekend. Sagertown, they don't play till the 10th, the Sagertown girls. Union City girls are at East Forest tip-off. So that's that, and then wrestling starts. What's on Saturday, or what's on Saturday?
Saturday we got the Greenville duels. That'll be big. There's a Cochrane will be down there. I know they got some good competition. The Hickory tournament's also.
Cochrana's at the Hickory tournament.
Or Cambridge is at
the
the duels. Cochrana's at the Hickory tournament. And I think those are the two big ones around here, although.
Cash is going to be at the Chartiers Houston tournament.
Yeah.
So they get started with the road trip. Good team bonding experience because they're a pretty young squad, I read in the preview.
Jamestown's at Hickory tournament.
Lakeview's at Hickory. Maplewood's at Hickory. Meadville's at the Greenville duels.
Yeah.
Sagertown, they don't start until the 11th,
yeah.
at Corey. Union City's going to be at the Greenville duels. So wrestling, this is exciting, man. Exciting time of year.
It is
We're right
an
on the cusp
exciting weekend,
of some
a little
weird
chaotic
sports.
weekend, but
Oh my gosh.
I think it's the most rewarding moment is when the guide, you get to see the finished product of the guide,
Yeah.
and you know that these tournaments start, because then it's another fun few months of sports,
And we hit that routine,
crazy but fun.
There's
Yeah,
busy nights and,
Yep.
and there's just crushing it towards deadline.
Mhm.
So that's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason and then this weekend other high school sports is the state championships in
Yeah.
football.
Yeah. I can read through these if you. I mean, I'll mispronounce some places.
Oh, here we go.
But yeah, so maybe you guys can get some
They're all at
enjoyment
Hershey
out of
Park.
that. Yeah, all at Hershey Park. But yeah, so locally, it's just
Farrell was the only
Farrell,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, the heartbreaker for Wilmington in the 3A semifinals last week. They lost to Avonworth 33-21. I believe Wilmington was up in the first half in that one. Avonworth came back and beat them, but it was a hard-fought win. The Wilmington, as you would expect, kind of went out swinging, but they came up just short of. Did they make the finals last year, or were they a semifinalist? I can't remember. But geez, they're there every year. What a program they have down there. But it's going to be Southern Columbia, no doubt, against Avonworth in the 3A championship, Hershey Park Friday during the day, 1 o'clock on a Friday. Maybe get to watch that a little bit on PCN before I come to work. But yeah, as we said, Farrell, they advanced. They beat Clareton for the first time in 3 years or something like that. I think they had lost to Clareton the last 3 seasons, maybe. And finally, they got past Clareton 13-10, low-scoring game, big game for both defenses. Farrell held off a very tough-to-beat Clareton team, Whitfield champion, 13-10 at North Allegheny on Friday night. And they advanced to the championship game, which is going to be Thursday at Hershey Park, 1 p.m., Bishop Guilfoyle versus Farrell. Bishop Guilfoyle, they were in another low-scoring game over on the east side. They won 11-7 over Lackawanna Trail, who I believe Farrell beat last year in the...
I don't remember last year.
Yeah, and in the West Final possibly. Anyway, so that's going to be 1A. 2A state championship is going to be... Oh, that is... These are all goofy order. So 2A is Southern Columbia versus Avonworth
Yes.
on Friday at 1 p.m. 3A is going to be Wyoming Valley versus Central Valley. That's going to be... So a couple of valleys going at it. That's going to be noon on Saturday. Class 4A, that's going to be Dallas. I don't know how they got all the way up in Pennsylvania versus Thomas Jefferson. That's Thursday at 7 o'clock. Class 5A, Cheltenham, which I thought was in England, is going up against Archbishop Wood. That's going to be 7 o'clock on Friday.
Yeah, they're going to be surprised when they get here and find out what kind of football they're playing.
What do you know? Yeah, that's going to be a culture shock. 6A, that's going to be Central Dolphin versus St. Joseph's Prep. St. Joseph's Prep won a pretty wild game against Pittsburgh Central Catholic on Saturday. That's going to be for the big school title in what do you want to call it? High school football.
That'll be the end of the fall season.
Yeah,
Officially,
yeah.
the end of the fall season.
That is the capper for the fall. Boy, that was all the way back in summer when we first started going with that. And here we are, the snow's outside falling currently, and well, not currently, but it was earlier today, and we're in the midst of the winter months.
but
It's almost
Christmas.
fitting that the winter season will begin the exact same day that the fall season ends.
Yeah,
But that's going to mess things up for some of these basketball teams who have some good athletes on,
yeah,
on the football
so
teams. So.
yeah, I mean, you have to imagine that. I know Farrell had
Farrell's gonna be hurt,
Farrell had
yeah.
crossover, and
but
Especially the smaller schools.
Well,
Yeah.
but you know what? We've seen it happen. Remember when General McLean was really good at football those years? Farrell's always good at years. I've yet to see it affect the team because if your team has enough, or if your school has enough athletes to get to the state championship of football,
Right.
there's going to be crossover in basketball, and those guys are very good athletes on the hardwood too. So they might be a little slow to get back into basketball shape, but by the end of the year. more often than not, that team is just as dangerous.
Yeah,
You
well, a little segue. The year Meadville went to the state championship in basketball not too long ago, it was the year Journey Brown had his big breakout year. And
Yeah.
he went out, played on that basketball team. He wasn't a starter, but he brought energy. He
was
always
fun
brought
when he
energy.
got in, yeah.
He was. And,
Speaking of Journey Brown,
exactly.
Saturday, what a game for him, man. That was 103 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's coming off a loss in the family. His cousin died. Meadville kid died earlier. What was it, last week?
He died the Saturday before, I believe.
Yeah.
Or the weekend before.
Yeah, so he's had some he's as we all have, he's had some loss in his life, but he goes out and he was able to translate into that one heck of a game for Penn State. As they beat Rutgers 27-6. A lot of people were kind of disappointed in that. They thought it should have been a blowout, and maybe it should have. I think Rutgers only had 2 wins coming into the game, and not much was expected of them. But
yeah, well, you know what? Penn State's playing with a backup quarterback.
A couple other backups
they had
too, aren't they?
Couple guys out on defense. The important thing is, I think that that win keeps them in position. They don't have a chance of getting into the playoff, but I think they can still get into a New Year's Six bowl.
Yeah, everybody's it's projected Rose Bowl, I think. That's what I saw anyway.
Yeah, so I mean that'll be big. That's big for recruiting, big for this program, big for everything. So
I got to see the Rose Bowl when I was in Los Angeles a few years ago. It was closed. I think they were shooting a commercial.
Oh, yeah?
And we pulled into the parking lot just to look around, and my mom went in and tried to use the restroom, and they kicked her out.
Shoot around?
Yeah, we're shooting a commercial, so she thought. She's like, I could be an extra. They didn't allow it. Let's see. The game was Saturday. Ohio's. What was that?
The slaughter, the annual slaughter.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
56-27, Ohio State over Michigan. J.K. Dobbins looked pretty good. Ohio State's Ohio State, man. And then that Auburn Alabama game was outstanding. Auburn got the upset, 48-45. Not a big upset, but that was a slobber knocker.
They've played so many crazy games in that rivalry over the past few years, and there's always some absolutely bizarre play that happens. I mean, this time it was the pick six, the 100-yard pick six where the quarterback threw it off the player's back, and I mean, I just remember you had the kick six a while back. You had missed field goals. I guess there were more missed field goals in this game.
Yeah, one off the upright right in fourth quarter.
Yeah, so, Auburn, Alabama, they always live up to the billing in the Iron Bowl. And, I guess it's exciting that, Alabama is the premier program in college football, and we will get to see a playoff, without them.
Yeah.
First time.
Might get through the whole New Year's weekend without seeing them, depending on how the
I mean,
Six Bowls are picked and all that.
I kind of have a little bit of Alabama fatigue. It's nice to see a team that might be, different this time around.
Yeah.
You'll still have Clemson, you'll still have Ohio State, and you'll still most likely have LSU.
But now there's to be fatigued about it.
Yeah, but now there's a real chance that you'll get to see maybe Utah or Baylor. I think that's just really it's cool to see. I mean, they'll probably get smoked, but. Yeah, it would be just interesting to see if one of those teams can get in there and maybe make some noise.
Yeah. And I hope there's no Alabama fans out there trying to do a repeat of killing the trees down here in the Auburn's park.
When did that happen?
That was after
Auburn beat Alabama and some guy.
It was after
the
Cam Newton comeback. Yeah,
which was the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Guys,
he destroyed a state landmark.
Yeah.
Well, shouldn't have lost the football game. Makes sense to me.
It's because they put a Cam Newton jersey on Bear Bryant's statue, and that drove him nuts.
Yeah.
Speaking of losing football games.
We're going to go to the Brown Steelers.
NFL.
Yeah. That was awful. That was just terrible. They got up 10-0.
Game,
yeah. And then they just quit playing. Defense quit playing. They had so many chances that they could have taken it over. Fourth quarter, they have them pinned against the goal line after a punt that, they probably... Here's the crazy part. The refs made more calls for the Browns than I've ever seen in my life. They had every excuse to win that game. Now, granted, they had some guys missing. You know, everybody's talking about, oh, we beat them without this guy, without this guy. Well, the Browns had a few key figures missing. Myles Garrett, of course, that with Demarius Randall didn't go because he missed practice or something, or he's acting a fool. I don't know. But he was out. They're kind of banged up as well on the defensive end, and you can see that. They had them pinned at the goal line, and they give up an 11-yard run on first down. It was awful. And then they gave up a couple more first downs on third downs. I mean, Devlin Hodges?
Devlin.
Call him Duck.
I ain't calling him Duck. He's Devlin Hodges, and he beat the Browns. And then everybody was real classy about it on Twitter. That was nice to see. It was just, I read this thing on Cleveland.com today. And it was talking about, hey, can we all have a rational discussion about the Browns right now without jumping to, hey, let's fire the coach. And I'm usually one of those guys. I'm not one of the guys that always calls for a coach's head every time something goes wrong. Those are people that watch football one day a week and think they know better than the guys that are with that program all year long, calling plays and it's analyzing everything. And they're sitting in the anyway. And the guy on Cleveland.com mentioned about how, Cleveland never gets a pass. Whether it's a T-shirt or a penalty or the fumble or something, they never get a pass. It's always a catastrophe when something like this happens, and this was another one. I mean, they manhandled Pittsburgh the first time out. They should have done it again, and they just didn't. And now it's like. And now Pittsburgh has a new meme. They kind of won the season with that win, even though it's a split. They have the shot at getting into the playoffs, and the Cleveland doesn't. It's never just a loss. It's always a collapse.
It's always a key loss.
It's frustrating. It's a frustrating place to be, and I think it infects that town. And I think it affects the entire sports, everything around the sports there. We always know it's coming. We always know, the comeback is coming, that we're going to, lose Game 7, that we're going to... Which makes what LeBron James did... He was the one person in the last however many years to be able to transcend that. Mm-hmm. That makes, when he won that championship with the Cavs, gave us a little breathing room. I thought that had ended things, but the Browns are proving me wrong. That it's still there. The infection is still there. We still need another dose of... what do you call it? What's that stuff called? Somebody help me out. Penicillin or something.
Yeah. Watching that game, it seems that
Duck Hodges.
I mean, I think to a point, Browns fans should treat it. It is just one game in the grand scheme of things. And while it's a crappy loss, it just stinks.
It stinks.
It stinks and it stings because of the expectations around the team. But the expectations should have been tempered. I don't think this team is not. It's a process. That's what I've learned throughout what the Bills are doing. I mean, it's just it takes time to build a winner, and. This loss, while it stings and while it hurts, the Browns really they're not a 10-6 team yet.
No,
they can be next year if they add a few more players. Their players learn from their mistakes this year, and Myles Garrett comes back and he's a man on a mission next year. I would not be surprised if Myles Garrett has an amazing season next year because he probably learns from what he did wrong and he'll be more and more inspired to play better next year. More in
control, less 15.
Exactly. And Baker will learn from all of his misfortunes. I think that frankly Mayfield has learned a lot.
Yeah.
I thought that early in the season him and Beckham were not really on the same page, and then when they started going to Beckham more and going deep more, they were more successful there. I think Freddie Kitchens needs to learn that he needs to run the ball more. I mean, he has two of the best running backs in football.
Yeah. And
I think they had an interception they got to with inside the 40, and the first 3 plays were passes, and one led to a sack, and they had to punt.
Yeah. Yeah,
they lost out on points. I mean, when you're at the 40 and you have 2 great running backs, I know it sounds like lame to say. I know it's against modern football. It's like, oh, throw is so much more effective. Well, not if you have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt.
And not if you've already given up 4 sacks throughout the game. I mean,
Right.
he was getting beat around. They did not pass block for him.
And not if you're playing against the Steelers, because the Steelers are frankly a very good pass rushing team. Like they have T.J. Watt, they have Devin Bush, they have all these pass rushers. I think the Steelers want you to throw more. That's plays into their strengths. And I think that hopefully Freddie Kitchens learns from that, because I don't necessarily think he's as terrible as the media makes him out to be, or as people make him out to be.
It's his first year. He's learning.
Yeah, I think that he's a guy that,
First full year.
he's a young, inexperienced coach, and he'll get better as he'll make his mistakes and he'll learn from them, hopefully. And if he doesn't learn from them, then you can talk about firing, because then there's no growth. But I think it's time to, pump the brakes, look at the team, and, you can build off that. You got a lot of these guys, they're locked up. It's not like it's not like this is win or go home season for the Browns. They have a second-year quarterback. They traded for Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham's still very young. It's not like you're wasting a year of Odell Beckham. You're gonna have Odell Beckham more. You're gonna have Jarvis Landry more. You're gonna have Nick Chubb more. I don't know about Hunt. He might go for another contract, but you can find backup running back. And
that's a good tandem. I would like to see.
That's a great tandem, and I think you should want to bring it back.
The Browns signed him for more than a year, didn't they?
I'm not sure.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but regardless, their talent is coming back, and you can build off stuff. Hopefully, they can just finish strong and let the cards play as they may.
Yeah.
What they need, this will be key in the off season. The off season will be key. They're going to have to in the draft or free agency. They're going to have to find a left tackle to protect Mayfield.
Yeah, their line is not good. And I think that's.
The fact that they've won as much as they have with that horrible line is surprising.
That's a huge.
The fact that Chubb's got over 1,000 yards
yeah.
with that line is surprising to me. And they're going to have to fix a couple things on defense, but the offensive line has got to be first and foremost.
Absolutely.
Because you can go grab 3 more of the best running backs in the NFL and 2 more of the best receivers if you don't have any holes to run through, and if your quarterback's getting sacked every time he takes 2 steps.
Pittsburgh won that game in the trenches, no doubt about it. And you that's what you talked about, and I think Freddie and Baker are in the same situation, whereas everything they did last year was like, wow, look what they're doing this year. But everything this year was, well, they better do that this year. It's the dynamics change for them. They were expected to do things, and it's hard, and whereas. And that's hard to live up to, and they haven't yet. And I had tempered my expectations this year. They still haven't lived up to my tempered expectations. But I wasn't one of the guys who were, we're going to the Super Bowl. What are you talking about? Stop saying that. Why did you just?
But there were a lot of people that were.
Oh my God,
it was crazy. Yeah, especially as a rational sports fan, that's the most irritating thing. Is really you're like, what are you guys seeing that makes you think that this is, something. Bigger. I think that now the Browns, you win a couple plays here or there, and they could definitely be in the wild card race. They are good enough to be a wild card.
I'll be honest, I don't care about a strong finish. I wanted to sweep the Steelers. I don't care about a strong finish. I just wanted to sweep the Steelers.
I guess I don't know the rivalry as much.
I've lived in Northwest Pennsylvania my whole damn life. Pardon my French. Yeah. But I've had to deal with that my whole life, and I have a bit of a complex about it. Devin Hodges.
You want to talk about positivity? Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, that was fun. That was pretty good.
that was arguably my favorite Bills win of my lifetime.
Oh yeah.
Whereas since I've started watching, I didn't start watching until 2003, and the Bills since 2003 were nothing special. Everyone forgets about anything from Bills 2003 on. But, going into Dallas and seeing the Bills run a trick play on Jerry Jones and seeing him put his hands to his face in just, angst. It was awesome. It was after post-Thanksgiving dinner, so everybody's happy. Everybody enjoyed great meal. And you just got to watch the Bills crush Dallas in their own building. It was an awesome sight to see.
26-15.
Our quarterback looks like an actual quarterback in the NFL. He looks competent. He looks confident. The There's so much to like about this team. The coaching seems like they seem like they outsmarted Dallas. And now I would have maybe liked a little bit less of the taunting after the game. The Bills are saying, "Oh, that's why you don't pay Dak." Our cornerback was doing the hip dance that Dak loves to do. I think
that, huh?
Yeah, on one hand, I like it because they're having fun, and I like seeing the Bills do fun things. But and it's also a team that you're not going to see for another 4 years. So it's not like they're doing it on the Patriots, even though I will love it. I can't lie. If the Bills start dancing on the Patriots and doing goofy stuff on the Patriots, then I'll be happy. But I gotta just enjoy the ride for what it is. They still haven't made the playoffs. It would take, I guess, a crazy amount of stuff to happen for them not to make it. But they still have a lot to prove. They still got to beat a really good team because Dallas. I know that they were 6-5, but they're not that good. I saw enough of that to say that they're not good. They play Baltimore. They play at Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football, and then they play the Patriots on Saturday at 4:30. The Bills are going to be watched by a lot of people now, so hopefully they can keep it going. At least compete with Baltimore. I want to see them just be able to. I'm tired of the Baltimore. Baltimore's the most. They look unstoppable. And they played against a great 49ers team who made Aaron Rodgers look horrible, and they still beat him. So there's a lot to ask, but I wouldn't want anything else than having the Bills play 3 huge games in December. It's brand new. It's exciting. They snuck into the playoffs 2 years ago. Now they're there. They're in the contention, and they get to play meaningful games in December. It's cool to see.
Exciting and new.
That's got to make you smile because at least there's one team in the NFL that implodes more than the Browns, the Dallas Cowboys, who supposedly have the best talent on paper every year and can't seem to get above 500.
Every single analyst during the day picked Dallas to beat the Bills, and it was just glorious. The Bills said the Bills were watching. They said after the game they were like, we were watching all these people pick against us, and we were just smiling ear to ear. We love it. It's kind of the opposite. Cleveland had all the expectations from the fans and the stuff, and the Bills
not all the fans.
No, not all the fans, but a lot of them. And the Bills on the flip side, they're the team that doubted. I think that's a huge advantage to a lot of NFL teams. I think you want to be the doubted team. I think that it's just a lot better place to be. There's no expectation. You get to play freer. You get to play freer. I think that the Bills have used that to their advantage more times this season than not. I think that the Bills like being discarded. They like being doubted.
It didn't work in the Browns game.
Well,
it did not.
Well, again, and it's a lot easier to play with a chip on your shoulder than it is to play with pressure on your shoulders.
But I think also the Browns in that game were on the flip side. They were the team that they were 2-6 and they were disappointed.
That's right.
So I think
they were the betting line favorites.
The Bills came into that game I think a little overconfident. The Browns came into that game really hungry. Mm-hmm. And I think that matters. I know a lot analytics will disregard it and all that stuff.
How do you measure something like that?
But you can't measure it, and I think it's just a human behavior thing.
Yeah.
Where Dallas came into that game, maybe a little bit tight because they were desperate. Whereas the Bills came into that game, everybody doubts us, and we're gonna just play free, play loose, and just run our stuff. And they get rewarded for it. I think that. Now, I also think Dallas is a little bit less talented than what people say, and I think the Bills are a little bit more talented than what people say.
I think
the Bills were just. I think the Bills are just better.
A couple years ago, the Browns came in with 2 rookies, Dak Prescott and the running back from Ohio State, Ezekiel Elliott. One on this tear, won the division.
Cowboys.
Yeah, and everyone thought that those 2 guys were going to win a Super Bowl within the next 2 years, and they're finding out that those 2 guys had a special year. They're not quite as good as that year was. That the Eagles were down. The Washington Redskins were always down. That was the beginning of the fall. The Giants, they just rolled through that conference.
Yeah.
Their division, and now they're kind of everyone in that division is in about the same boat.
Your Finns won.
Yeah. Yep.
I enjoyed that game a lot too. I love scrappy Fitzpatrick.
And I can't figure out how the Dolphins, who have won 3 games, 4 games,
3 of 5 or something.
3 of 5 are almost a touchdown underdog against a team that just lost to the Bengals
Yeah,
I mean,
is that right?
Oh, they're a touchdown underdog to the Jets.
And I know it's in New York, but a touchdown?
It's an absolute toss-up. I think
It's a toss-up, and they always give 3 points on home advantage. So at best, the Jets should be a 3-point.
It is kind of crazy though that props to the Dolphins for trying and doing cool stuff. Like their trick play was one of the coolest things I've seen in a long time.
The Dolphins are going to win more games with the worst roster in the NFL than some teams that I'm looking at. That guy's good. That guy's good.
It's nuts, and people will complain, "Oh, we're tanking and they're killing us," but I don't know. There's something to enjoy about a team that has nothing to lose and beating Philadelphia, a team that has everything to lose. And the Dolphins, Ryan Fitzpatrick's throwing up dimes in the back corner to Devontae Parker's jumping over people all the time. It's fun to see.
Who the Browns play this week? They got Cincinnati, right? Finally,
Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, the Browns play Cincinnati.
Who's now got momentum behind?
Yeah.
Of course they do, right?
We'll see what happens there. Let's see. Also released last week, right before, towards the end of the week, was the all District 10 sports teams. J.D. McFadden, no big surprise, was the Player of the Year in Region 2 after the monumental season that he had. And, Maplewood, understandably, kind of just littered that Region 2 team. There were kids all over, Clay Cox, J.D., Caleb Donor, Jesse McFadden, Nibala, Steve Hemme, who else? Joey King. Oh, Brian Kelly on there? I know he's got second team. That's a travesty. He should have been first team. He's second team both ways. Let's see, Meadville had a bunch of kids on the Region 7 team. Arian Cotterman, first team running back. Tommy Pollard, first team offensive lineman. Logan Hahn, first team offensive lineman. Winston Hagee, first team punter. There you go. Parker Lord, first team DL. Pollard, he got first team linebacker. Hayden Parks, first team DB. So Meadville, they had a pretty good year. That was too bad they didn't do Coach of the Year, because Ray Collins, after the trick that they pulled this fall, getting them from winless to a District 10 title game, that was something else. I will vote him. Right? You guys want to vote for Coach of the Year right now?
He's got my vote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's unanimous. So congratulations, Coach Collins. So we talked football. We talked basketball's coming up. Anything else you guys want to touch on? No? Yes? No?
the Pirates got a new manager. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that.
Shelton.
Yeah.
Like I said, unless he can win 30 games on the mound and hit 40 home runs and drive in about 200 RBIs, he's not going to do much.
Yeah.
I think the Pirates, they definitely needed the clean house. I think that Archer trade kind of says it all about the organization. They traded a lot of good young players for a guy that helped them to a 500 record. It's just that's a move. That's just a silly move that sets an organization.
Two young players to help the Tampa Bay Rays get into the playoffs this year.
Right. It's just they need the clean house, and hopefully they can build from the ground up again. That's what they did a while back, and they were rewarded for it with some exciting baseball for a while. So.
Well,
it's tough when you're a small market. And it's tough when you don't want to spend money. That's
Cleveland's a small market, but
they don't spend the money. They could spend more money and keep some of those players around.
Right.
The owner doesn't want to do it.
That's more of the issue, because like Pete's saying, the Indians did it as a small market, and they were able to. You spend a little bit when you know you have the team, and then you have that extended success for a while. And they did it the right way too.
Even when the Indians lost some players, they didn't cut their salary. They didn't cut their payroll from $100 million down to $60 million.
No,
they still stayed in the 80s and kept guys around, and then added the youth to it and got it back up into the 90s.
Yeah,
and it's been fun following them year after year. Whereas the best thing about following the Pirates is going to that that park once a year.
That park is awesome.
It is awesome.
The park deserves better.
It does. It does. All right. So we got a few months until the weather breaks and we get to play some baseball again. But then so next week we'll be able to talk about some basketball action and some wrestling. Hockey. Meadville had a nice showing at the Walsh tournament, the Walsh Jesuit tournament over Kent, Ohio, the past week. They took second to Holy Name. I think that was the one team that beat them. I think they lost in a shootout. Anyway, they lost to Holy Name. Holy Name ended up winning the tournament, but Meadville took second. So it was a nice weekend for them. And then they got to drive home and then come out the next night, Monday, and play. Who did they play Monday? Hampton.
It's pretty good, but
4-1 they lost.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, Hampton was Jamie thought looked to be a pretty decent team this year, but they looked like they were down going into that game. Maybe they got some momentum around the same time the Bulldogs did. Maybe the Bulldogs were a little tired coming off of 3 tough games.
That would be understandable.
But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how they rebound from this one now, because they always seem to rebound after a tough loss. This one,
that's a frustrating loss for them.
It is. I think
it's a team that was definitely beatable, and they just to me they just couldn't seem to find the net. They just couldn't seem to put the puck in the net.
Right.
And also they were definitely, Plunkett had mentioned this, that they were probably a little bit tired or didn't show enough energy that you would like to see fresh out of that tournament. But he actually was disappointed in the effort. But I think that's you get worn down.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, they're gonna do it again at the first of the year because they host their tournament, which is even more games that they're going to be playing, and then I believe that Monday they usually the day after the tournament ends they play again. So I think he's preparing him for the long haul, and it's a grind for him, no doubt.
Yeah, well,
about
that tournament they were in is a grind. I know they played University School on Friday, who beat them last year pretty handily. And then they played on
Padua. They played
Holy Name on Saturday, and then Padua on Sunday. All 3 of those teams are really good Ohio schools. And, it's the equivalent of playing one of the top schools in the PIHL. In Holy Name and University schools, one of the very top teams. So, I think that tournament will give them some confidence, momentum for the rest of the year. Now it's just a matter of maybe getting some of that energy back that they lost. Because I bet you they had to fight hard to win, to come in second in that tournament. That's not.
Yeah. Isn't University School redundant? Isn't just University a school? School.
Yeah.
Isn't that a Sal College high school?
I think it's actually University Prep High Schools.
I do want to give a shout out to I think Jordan McCurdy's been very, very good in net for the Bulldogs as of late. I mean, really all year. I mean, both goalies. I mean, they face a lot of shots. They're playing these bigger schools, a lot of fast kids, and a lot of good shots that they've been facing. And I think they've stood up to the task almost every night that I've seen them play.
The game against University School, University Prep in the opener over there on Friday, they came out and scored, and we're up 3-0 on Meadville, just like that, like 6 minutes into the game, and then. I think Jamie said he thinks they might have scored 3 goals on 6 shots.
Oh man!
And then McCurdy ended up with 46 saves, and they won it 6-3.
Oh wow!
Seems like he's always over 40 saves. The team they fire a lot of shots.
It's. I think
not McCurdy. It was Coppola, the freshman.
Oh, okay.
The freshman came back from that, and then McCurdy, I think, against Baldwin had 40-something saves. So, unfortunately. You like to see that from your goalie, that he's standing on his head and making those saves.
You don't want to see him.
You don't want to see him take that many shots.
No.
So they got to get their defense worked out. I think that'll play a big part in that. If they can get that defense worked out here coming down the stretch and get them playing to where they're capable, because they played some outstanding games this year.
They still do a lot of good ththings.
Yeah.
In spite of the record, I think their positioning is really good. They force a lot of turnovers in the neutral zone. So it's just that hockey. It's a lot of putting it together, and sometimes it just feels like there's a wall in front of the net when things just aren't going your way. It's just you just got to work out of that.
They don't have a
and
Nick
stuff like
France handling the puck and
Right.
shooting anymore, and he was one of those dudes that could just find the cracks in the goal, and get it in there. And they relied on him a lot the last 4 years.
He would score goals you wouldn't really expect from scoring from. He would be able to score goals from
and just
skating over the line,
yeah,
and stuff like that. Now it seems like they have to grind the puck deep behind the net and be able to. They tend to force a lot of things, just like passing into the slot, and teams tie that up, and it's hard to get all those plays to work out perfectly for you.
And they have to adjust to this new paradigm for them against an entirely new and tougher league. Playing up in 2A this year. So it's to be expected that they're going to have their struggles this year.
Growing pains.
Yes,
well, but I have faith in playing. He's seen this before.
Oh, yeah.
The last state title when Brian Berinsky led him in scoring. They probably had a little bit more scoring than they do now, but that was a grinded out team. They weren't flashy. They pushed people around in front of the net, tipped pucks in, did stuff like that.
Yeah.
They were it was a grinding team. And
the game-winning goal in the state championship was, they were grinding in front of the net.
Yep.
Maybe the defender got pushed out of the way. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. But it was that's how they got the game winner at the very end to win in overtime. I think.
Yeah.
What a game that was. That was 08, was it?
Yeah.
I mean, judging from all the banners and accolades on the walls, there is really no reason to doubt the program. I think the program is going to improve. Though I bet they'll gradually improve throughout the season.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to be a different team in March than they are right now.
Absolutely. Jamie will make sure of it.
Okay.
I think that's good.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Anybody watch The Irishman yet?
I watched the first hour 20, so I
still
watched the
like a
first
third of the way
33.
through.
I watched the first 33%.
Yeah.
Something. I think people should watch it. I mean, it's just to be
If you
around,
like Scorsese.
just to be around Scorsese, De Niro, Pesci, and
Ray
Pacino.
Romano.
The fact that I say Pacino fourth is insane, and then Ray Romano and Harvey Keitel.
Yeah.
I mean, just having all those names and having all, you're kind of just, if you like mobster movies and you like Goodfellas and The Godfather and all that stuff, you'll like The Irishman.
Which I did.
I think some of it is a little jarring. The aging stuff is a little jarring. I think there's one scene, I don't want to go into spoilers, even though I've only seen 33% of it, but the one scene where I think De Niro is stomping on a guy.
The grocery guy?
It looks like he's 80.
He does. It was very creaky beat down. He was just like,
But I mean, it is a good movie. I think people will enjoy it. I think a lot of people will like it. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets a lot of accolades come February or whenever the Oscars are in March.
Yeah, it was cool to see Pesci act again. Cause,
I thought he was my favorite of the three. I really enjoyed Pesci in that role.
And it's such a different one that you're used to seeing him play. My Cousin Vinny, his other Scorsese appearances, the Casino,
Goodfellas,
and the Lethal Weapon movies. He's usually a live wire, but this one
he wasn't personally in it. But he was in Jersey Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right.
He kind of introduced Bob Gatto to the team.
They're all kind of doing, I feel like, what they do best. Scorsese's kind of doing is like it's kind of like it's intensely violent, but also kind of goofy. Like it's just, I mean, Pacino's doing his like screaming thing.
Mm-hmm.
Loves to do lately.
Portraying. What is his
Jimmy
name?
Hoffa.
Jimmy Hoffa, yeah.
I think there's a funny scene where he's like shouting about Bobby Kennedy being chasing him down. And he's like, this is funny stuff.
Yeah, Pacino's
but also
Pacino.
intense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I liked it a lot. Actually, I might watch it again
if you can find the time.
It's a long movie, man.
Me and my family were gonna watch it over Thanksgiving, and it was like 9 p.m. We gotta like be up early, and it's like what's this run time? 3 hours 40 minutes, and I'm like okay, we'll watch the rest of it over Christmas.
It's basically a miniseries. But yeah, so that's
That's
good. I like it.
Yeah. And then Mandalorian's still going strong.
Yay! I'm not watching it now. I'm taking a stand.
Oh,
I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna look at the memes with Baby Yoda and be like,
Baby
Yoda.
Yoda.
You guys are jerks.
I care so much about Baby Yoda. I don't think there's any character I care more about in the world. That I do not want anything bad to ever happen to Baby Yoda.
All I know is that what's her name plays Rey and Boyega
Ridley.
Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Ridley.
And John Boyega have both said that it's obvious, it's very obvious that Baby Yoda is way cuter than the Porgs.
I mean, Baby Yoda has, like, the Porgs are nameless.
Yeah.
Baby Yoda, even though he also is nameless, is that you have this character that you care so deeply about, and he's always in a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
Of course.
There's always something going horribly wrong around him, and it's like somebody's got to protect Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
All right. Go
Go
ahead.
Even though I think by the time it's all said and done, we're going to find out Baby Yoda can protect himself really well.
Oh yeah, but so follow us Tribune_sports.
Yeah, that's right.
That's on Twitter.
And you can email us at sports@meadvilletribune.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can,
And if all else fails and you don't have either one of those, you can always send us something at the
carrier
Facebook.
pigeon.
Yep. Oh, we got mail. We could take mail. 947
that's right.
Federal Court, Meadville, Pennsylvania 16335.
Stop by.
You guys wrote that down. You can stop by. I guess
can
if you
stop
want.
by.
Try to get past security. See what happens.
Drop something off. Stop by and drop something off.
Yes, presents are coming. I could use a pair of 35-pound barbells if you're.
If you
wondering.
see us in the gyms, say hi.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for listening, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay.
And girls.